Newcastle-based audio engineer and session drummer Mitta Norath has been working at Tommirock for the past 15 years. He's worked with the likes of Boo Seeka, Eat Your Heart Out, and is known for his attention to detail and spacious mixes. Here's our chat with Mitta from Tommirock. How did you get into the position that you're currently in, and start your career in audio engineering?
So I played in bands when I was just high school teenager, like most musicians did, and then I started recording music towards the end of high school, and then I did the sound production course in high school at HSPA, and then I started recording bands, and pretty much just didn't get a real job, didn't do all the normal things, just kept recording music until I felt confident enough to move into a studio. So that was about 15 years ago. I moved into Tommirock when we were in Hunter Street, and I've been here ever since.
That's incredible.
Yep.
So you knew from the get-go that you wanted to do.
Yeah, I was really lucky. My parents always say I was super lucky that I figured out my career path when I was 14.
Yeah.
I think I was about 14 or 15, and I knew that not only was it going to be music, but it was going to be recording music.
So, yeah, that's pretty rare.
Yeah, totally rare. Yeah, that's good.
What was it that drew you to it?
So I get this question a bit. I think it's because I'm a massive control freak, and I think recording music is the ultimate control freak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So for me, I'm a drummer. So in my opinion, the drummer controls the band. The front person is the face of the band, but the drummer controls the band. So okay, cool. This is my first area I can be super controlling over people. I'm going to be the drummer, and then I did that for a while. I'm like, oh, the next step is production, because that's control of everything. You know, I have control of every single element of not only the band, but the music, all of it. So I think for me, that's what attracted me, was the overarching control that you have over the entire process.
Yeah. And how do you go with directing people when they do come into the studio to record?
I'm pretty good with people. I think anyway. I might be wrong.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think I can make friends with people pretty easy. So I think that's a big part of being good at this job, is having those people skills. So I think, if you don't have them, you're going to have a hard time. And if you already have them, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Yeah. I'm lucky I fit into that second boat.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And so was Tommirock the first studio that you came into?
Yeah. So I had a studio at my parents' house, which was just like a backyard, same thing that I'm sure most people have. It's just like a room.
What did
it
consist of? Take us back
actually, there. I say it was simple. I'm down talking it. My parents built me a granny flat, which I was super grateful to have. It was a garage with an attached room and then a room above it, which was my bedroom and control room. So that's super lucky in that I could have two separate rooms, which not many people can have. If it wasn't for that, this whole thing would have taken a lot longer. Yeah. But the fact that I had a place that I could practice my skills, I was able to just do it a lot faster.
Yeah. This is a bit of a weird question, but what do you think is a common misconception about your job?
That it's glamorous and and sexy and
you don't feel
high-paid.
glamorous and sexy right
now? So, I mean, it's super fun.
Yeah.
It is super rewarding. I think, how I always laugh at those memes that people put up on the page, what my friends think I do.
Yes.
Those ones. Those apply so much to me more than anyone else. It's there'll be a photo of a person in a Corvette convertible with girls in the back. It's on the weekend, and then Drake in the studio smoking a cigar.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And then it just clicks to me, and I'm just snare sample.
Yeah.
Snare sample. Tick, 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 tick. That's all I'm doing, So I think that's the biggest one, is that it's all, because I get rappers call me, I'm can we smoke blunts in the studio? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yes.
What are you thinking? Are you,
Have you seen
come
the
into
gear
this,
that we have
come
here?
into this windowless box
Yeah.
and let's smoke in one of the rooms. It's just crazy. Yeah, that kind of stuff where people think it's they've got this idea it's the 90s where people will come in and break a guitar and, drinking Hennessy and that sort of shit. It's a job at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest one, is people thinking that it's some crazy roller coaster of a job, when it can just be a job.
Yeah. And how do you set those professional boundaries?
Ooh, I'm not very good at boundaries. Yeah, I'm Joel's always Joel, who works here, is always oh, you best friends with those guys again? I'm yeah, man, it just happens. And he's just cool. No boundaries, huh? I'm none ever.
No.
So yeah, like most of the people I work with end up being my friends, which
Yeah.
I think is a really lovely and wonderful thing. Yeah, there's not really much in the way of personal, professional. I try and keep it a little bit separate just so that I can maintain the level of energy that I need when I'm here, so I don't feel burnt out. But yeah, no, I'm not very good with boundaries.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common thing in
Yeah.
the music industry,
Yeah,
full
yep,
stop,
yep.
because I guess we're all living and breathing it. And
Yes,
it's like,
I think when you mix work with passion, it happens.
Yeah.
You know, like, and especially like you and me, like we'd go home at 5 o'clock, and I'm not done thinking about my job.
No,
You know,
no.
I'm thinking about it all night. I'm thinking about it as soon as I wake up. So, yeah, I think when you have an obsession like that, the rules are a little bit different.
yeah, true. What have been some of your favourite sessions that you've worked on?
Ooh, okay. So there's like a handful of bands that I formed like really wonderful relationships with. Like early on, it was like Eat Your Heart Out. Then it was Introvert. Recently, it's been Gratitude, Kaleidoscope, bands like that.
Yes.
Tellurian. Like when I form a relationship with a band where not only do I really love the music, and I often fall in love with the music. You know, like I get myself closer to it than I probably should.
Yeah, okay.
So I end up, having it being really important to me, and then as a result, those people become important to me. You know, like I can honestly say that those bands that I've mentioned, like a lot of those people are really close friends of mine now.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it's not so much about the one session; it's about the big blossoming relationships that I can have with these bands, which is really special.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the coolest thing, is that I can, you know, then go out and I've got 5 best friends to hang out with. Like it's lovely.
And how would you describe the local scene and like what you're seeing come through the door?
Do you
at the
mean
moment?
like stylistically, or do
Just
you
in general, just
Right.
in general.
I think, like, okay, so I think if you would approach this question in 2 steps, like the types of music that are coming out and the types of musicians that are making it, and then like the landscape in Newcastle as a whole, which
Yeah.
I think is on the decline, because like the biggest problem being venues, right? Like there's no venues. There's King Street now, but the Cambo's gone. Next is not really a thing,
Yeah.
is it? Like I don't really. Like,
We're struggling to get any actual big touring
see,
bands
that's the
to
thing
stop
is,
in at Newcastle.
Well, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
If I was a touring band and I looked at the list, the availabilities in Newcastle compared to Sydney, blah, 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 whatever, and then the numbers that I'm going to pull in Newcastle, because of, like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? We have no venues, which means people don't go to shows, which means we don't have any venues. Like, so if I'm a band, I'm looking at the numbers that I can do in Newcastle one night, 1,000 people, I'm probably going to skip it, you know?
Yeah.
And that sucks. Like, that's really, really shit. And it's gonna have this long-lasting effect on the industry, on the scene in Newcastle, where kids aren't as involved in music because they can't go and see it as often. So, yeah, it's in a kind of a scary downturn at the moment.
That's true.
For that reason.
Yeah.
But in terms of the bands that are coming out right now, like Newcastle's always been a hardcore town. Hardcore is massive at the moment because of bands like Speed, and then I think the other split is like the surfy rock indie bands. But yeah, that's at the moment, that's what I'm seeing, is like the split between like hardcore and indie. And then you've got like the metal bands that are always around, but they're just kind of like under the surface and like, never get exposure. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, was there like, now, just before I ask this question, you make some incredible videos
thank you.
about like your gear and also just like tips and tricks, which are brilliant.
Yeah.
And,
So that's the other thing. Yeah, we're putting a lot of time into our YouTube lately.
yeah. Was there ever like a moment or a tip that you learned that was just like a game changer?
Ooh. Yeah. So there's been a few. The biggest one, which sounds really simple and silly, is just listen to the source. Like, so I know you've done a bit of music production, so you understand. So once you have a certain set of skills, you're like, all right, I know how to do this, this, and this, which means every time someone gives me audio, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And you don't think about it, right? You're like, going to do the EQ, going to do the compression, blah, blah, blah. I spent a long time falling into that trap of like, I know how to do these things, I'm just going to do these things, as opposed to if someone sends me a song, I'm just going to listen to it now. And that, it sounds like a simple thing, but it's something that a lot of people struggle with, because you get in your own head, you know, you're like, oh, I've got to use all these things that I understand. Really, at the end of the day, your job is to listen to that thing and figure out how you can improve it. So instead of getting yourself and your ego tied up in it, you need to just listen to it and go, what does this need? And that is harder than it sounds. So I mean, yeah, that's not the simple quick fix solution that everyone hopes for. The other easier one that it would be more relatable for most people is referencing. So like learning how to reference and doing it often, listening to, you know, different types of music in your listening environment and then in your, you know, car, headphones, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I think those were the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you been working on and what do you hope to achieve this year?
Okay, so I've been tracking with a band called Pain Deluxe recently. They're pretty new. They kind of sound like a band called Loathe. Are you into heavy music? Not really, not your thing?
I will go and see it. I'm into it, but like
you
I
listening
won't
on the
listen
weekends.
to it.
Yeah, okay,
No,
cool.
no.
So there's like bands like Loathe, even like Knocked Loose, which are like super popular at the moment. They kind of sound like that. So we've been doing some stuff. Yeah, I've got a couple different projects in the works like that. I'm doing some work on my own music, which is something that, so when I have brain power for, like you, right? Like there's
so
all this,
hard.
there's no time, and when there is time, you don't have any energy for it. So just trying to figure out, when I have time and energy for that. And then what was your other question? What do I hope to achieve this year?
Yeah, because you've just opened up bookings, right?
Yeah. So we were closed for just the Christmas period, and so
cool.
we're back on now. I think. Yeah, working more with bands that fall within the genres that I'm mostly used to.
Yeah.
And developing sounds with bands that are in my niche. I think that is the goal for this year. So yeah, like working with less people and being more involved with the people I'm working with.
Nice. So who are you on the lookout for?
Well, right now, I'm trying to fill the roster with more extreme metal bands.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I would like more deathcore, more the heavier side of hardcore and metal. Anything that is extreme, that's the sort of thing I want to concentrate more on. So there's bands like from Newey, bands like Tellurian, Pain Deluxe, they fit that. There's a couple of bands from out of state that I've been talking to, and just trying to go down that rabbit hole of heavy and weird.
Yeah.
That's the aim anyway.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Cool. And I've asked like, what do you want to do? But I'd love to know, do you have like a big goal?
Not really. Joel and I like sit down every now and then and we try and have like goal talks.
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, just try and like figure out like what's the plan for, and I hate them so much because it's like I've got to like assess my whole life.
Yeah, me too.
And I hate it so much. Anyway, so yeah, I think I guess the thing I said to him was more work-life balance.
Nice.
Which has not really been a thing for the last 20 years because I've just been slogging it hard trying to get a name. So yeah, trying to work less and be more purposeful when I am working.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, that's the idea anyway.
Well, I hope that you achieve that.
Yeah, what about you?
I feel like I achieved the work-life balance.
You did?
Like I put my foot down maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more
That's good.
like in tune with it, and I'm like, no, I need this day at home.
Do you feel better?
Yeah, way better.
Cool.
Way better. Well, it means that I have, more energy to go out and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, I have a lot of things in the works that I'm just kind of,
hundreds of unfinished projects,
yes,
right?
yes,
Cool.
just trying to heat up at the moment.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
My
talking
pleasure.
with me.
Thank you for
It's
coming.
been so sick.
Yeah, sweet.